going to press go live. So we're live. It takes about 30-second delay. So if we give it 30 seconds and then Margie, I'm going to hand over to you. So I'm just going to be on my best behavior.
No, I am. Be on your best behavior. Oh, no, we need the Shireen. So, okay. So you just let me know.
Yeah, I'm going to tell, normally like when people do see us, they're going to, I'll put little notes just to let them know we'll start to see things come through. But Margie, I'm going to hand over to you. So as I said, I'm going to just behave myself.
And hopefully your mom's on. So Shireen's mom's usually pops on.
Everybody. That may sound like my mom, she does. I have to say hello to my mom every time. I don't know if she's going to be on it.
And maybe your sister too. So
yeah, maybe.
All family's there. Okay, so we will get started because we don't have much time. So I want to welcome everybody here today. Shireen and I are so thrilled to host Jesse Iwuji and sports agent Matt Casto. And we have been excited. It's like Christmas Day for me here. So I'm not going to even pretend to be professional. I know Shireen wants to be, we're not doing the music. I'm all fangirl all the way for Jesse and Matt. So I want to hand it over to Matt to introduce himself and Jesse to introduce himself, and then we will kind of get into the discussion.
Awesome. Well, hey, ladies, first of all, thanks for having us on. It's always a treat for Jesse and I both. Anytime somebody takes the time out to reach out, to learn about the story, to want to feature the story and spread the good news. So it's really an honor for us to be here with you. Big shout out, Shireen, to our friends and fans out in the UK. My wife and I took a trip to London not too long ago. What a beautiful town. And I can't wait. I keep telling Jesse, man, we got to take a trip over to London. So we'll work on that in the future. But what up to everybody around the globe, all the fans and even all the haters. All right. We appreciate you too.
We've got nothing but fans here, Matt. Nothing but fans.
Yeah, I know. There's always one, though. So I didn't want them to think I didn't appreciate them, too, because, again, we've all got them. But, a little bit on my background. I'm a sports agent. My favorite client. I don't just say this because he's on the phone, but I just say this all the time. If you even look at my social handles, is Lieutenant Commander Jesse Iwuji, NASCAR driver, who we're all going to get to hear from here in a few minutes. And, it's just an honor to come beside him, blaze this trail, and what a fine young man to represent. I don't want this show to be about me. I think the show should be really all about him. So I'll try to stay quiet, let him take a lot of the questions, and I'll interject a little bit because I do say a lot. I just don't say a lot publicly. So anyway, thanks for having me on, and we'll turn it out to Jesse if he wants to go ahead and rattle off his quick background and his story. And then Margie, if you want to start asking questions, or Serene, we're at your service. We're ready to chat.
Yeah, no, thanks, Matt. Yeah, so really had a really fun journey over the last 5 years and really my whole life. But for me, my story mainly is I'm Nigerian. Both of my parents came from Nigeria to the U.S. back in the 80s. Had me and my two brothers and my sister. We grew up in Dallas, Texas, because that's where they decided to settle. That's where a lot of Nigerians end up going, I guess, there in Houston. And then throughout my life, living in Texas, we found out that football is the king of that state. So I grinded really hard in middle school and high school to get as good as I could at football so that I could eventually go off to college and play college football. And by my senior year, the Naval Academy started recruiting me to come play football at the Naval Academy. So I looked at it as a great opportunity to go to a really good school, get a really great education, and play football for a great team. And then when I graduate, be able to serve in the United States Navy as an officer. So it was just a win in all different kind of ways. I went to Naval Academy, played there 4 years. If we got some Air Force and Army people watching, sorry, but we beat Air Force and Army all 4 years. While we were there.
Margie. Sorry, Margie.
But it was a good time, and graduated in 2010 and became a surface warfare officer. As a surface warfare officer, I was on the ships. So I spent about my first 4 years in the Navy on 2 different ships, went on 2 different deployments. And, during that time, whenever I had off time, I was really developing this passion for cars and racing. And I would take my personal cars to tracks near me and do like open track days, anything, days that anyone could come out and bring their car and have fun on the track. And then after a while of that, I was like, you know what? I want to take this to the next level. Like, why not try to become a professional race car driver? why not try to, take this to the highest level I can? So I was sitting in my room one night and I pulled my whiteboard off my wall and wrote on my whiteboard, become a professional race car driver. And that's where the journey began. And from there, it was just a grind to continue to figure out, how do I get in? How do I find a team? How do I race? How do I find the money to race? Because it's not cheap to race. How do I develop partnerships and sponsorships and all these different things I had to put together? How do I start my own business so I could make some extra money on the side to supplement some of the costs of racing? Like, how do I do all that stuff? And I just grinded through a lot of prayer, faith, and just hard work. Networking, that's what allowed it to happen. And then eventually 2017 met Matt, and Matt's definitely helped elevate everything we've been doing. I was able to get to a certain point myself, and then he just kind of took it from there, and it skyrocketed even more. So, it's been really great over the last 5 years, but now I'm racing at the second highest level of NASCAR as the only service member who's still currently serving and racing in NASCAR. And then also one of two African Americans in the entire national series level racing, me and Bubba Wallace. So it's been great to be able to accomplish the things we've been able to accomplish, and we still have more to go. I have one more step to go to get to the highest level of NASCAR, and we're going to keep on grinding. We're going to keep on trying to make it happen, and it will happen. So looking forward to the future, and we just got to keep, grinding hard, pushing forward, continuing to help people, push out great messages, and, do what we can to be there for society.
Okay, so, this, you recap this, but I think what I want to help our audience understand is that this is not an easy journey that you've been through. So I spent a lot of time doing officer accessions. So I know just your journey into the Naval Academy was not an easy one. To get through the Naval Academy and then to get to this place. And so where Matt wants to say, hand it all over to you, I know this is a partnership, which is why we asked Matt to be here with you. The same way that Shireen and I partner, the same way I connected with Matt. And I also want to, give you props, Jesse, because you did some back to school messages for students. So it's very clear in your mission and your vision with you and Matt together that it's about outreach. It's about creating inclusion. It's about showing, modeling for other people, what this needs to look like in the society, whether it's sports, whether it's the military, whether it's, corporations. So looking at this partnership that you two have developed together, what do you see still as like one of the biggest barriers you have to moving forward? Because obviously, similar to probably your experience at the Naval Academy, there isn't a lot of people that look like you. There isn't a lot of people in the military officers that looked like me, right? And so what are those barriers that you two are still facing together as a team? Because I see it very much as a teamwork piece here for the two of you.
Yeah. Jess, I'll let you go first, man. Go first, and I'll tie up anything.
Yeah. So as far as barriers, I mean, there's a lot of different barriers. As you're trying to go up the ranks of anything in the world, there's always going to be different points where it could be a stopping point where most people would quit because maybe they don't see anybody that looks like them, so like, oh man, maybe this is not for me, or maybe they're hitting a lot of different curbs and just walls and things are getting in their way, and they're like, oh, maybe this is a sign it's not for me. What we've learned, me and Matt, in this journey is no matter what, it doesn't really matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how, skilled, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like what really truly matters is those who stay strong enough, long enough. It's all about knowing that, hey, no matter what, as long as you don't quit, as long as you continue to push forward, because life is a cycle. This journey is a cycle. There's going to be ups and there's downs. And what happens is when we get to the down part, people forget that it's a cycle. It's going back up. That down part might be pretty long. That down part might be a month. It might be 2 months. It might be a year. You don't know, but it's going to eventually come up as long as you just stay with it, stay strong enough, long enough. So some of the barriers we've hit, a lot of people like to ask, hey, since you're one of two African Americans racing in NASCAR, have you hit any racial type barriers? For me personally, I don't think I've hit that at all along my journey. Now I've had, online trolls, come say weird stuff to me, crazy stuff to me. You're always going to have the keyboard warriors out there. Today we live in the internet. People have a lot more confidence and feel like they can say whatever they want to say online. I've had people write things as crazy as they've taken my picture from Instagram, one of my pictures from Instagram, write the N-word all the way across it and post it. Somehow, some way, someone else saw it and sent it to me and showed it to me. But I saw it, and as upsetting as it can be, I actually used it as a tool to try to unite people. Right. Because I'm not about this whole divisive type thing. It's not us versus them. It's not this race versus another race. It's not. At the end of the day, in this world, for us to continue to be the world, and really in the United States of America, to be the U.S. that we were supposed to be the America we were supposed to be, we have to unite, because united will rise, divided will fall. So I use it as a chance to show people that, hey, racism is out there. Yes, it is out there, but we're not going to let it tear us down. We need to unite together so that we can send out positive messages and teach people the right things to do, the right things to say. And with that, it did help a lot. A lot of people loved that. They, I could have went a complete different direction and just been tearing this person down and saying all this craziness and saying, yeah, all these types of people are racist and all these people aren't. No, it's not how it is. We must unite. We have to come together. And that's what I did. So racial barrier, not really hitting it, I don't think. You just see the online trolls. Obviously moving up the ranks of NASCAR, it's different than any other sport. There's money involved where, a race car costs money. Tires cost money. Having great people work on your vehicle costs money. Transporting vehicles costs money. So we're always constantly fighting the battle of, okay, how do we align ourselves with the right brands and partners so that we can be able to continue to move up the ranks of NASCAR? Because we're not just coming to people saying, hey, please give us money so I can race. We're like, no, how can we use our journey, my message, my brand, everything I'm about to help elevate any marketing efforts or initiatives you have at your company. And with that happening, maybe we could figure out this sponsorship effort where you're helping us on track. And it's a very fluid and great relationship and partnership and just authentic in general. And that's the thing, looking for authentic fits. So I would say those are probably some of the things right there. I would say that those are always the hurdles we have to fight.
Yeah.
I would just add to that, that I feel like, from my perspective, back in 2017 when we hooked up, Jess, I feel like if I had to reach back and replay this, and one day we'll probably put this in a book or a movie or something on this historic journey from playing football, your family coming from Nigeria, you serving the country, you becoming somebody who operates ships, and holy cow, you just decide, I'm going to now go drive 200 miles an hour bumper to bumper because I think I can, right? I mean, that's just amazing on itself. But for me, what I found out, when we first hooked up, was that the biggest barrier that we were going to hit first out, right out of the gate, is that you didn't grow up doing this, right? I mean, most of the guys we're racing against start when it's pretty insane. The more you learn about motorsports, which I think most people appreciate cars. Most people like safe cars. Most people would rather take a car than a horse, right, to get to where they're going. Shout out to all the, folks out there on horse, though. No disrespect if that's your preference. But what we found out is, I thought, when I heard this story, because NASCAR is interesting. What NASCAR has is a platform, right? They just create an event, just if you wanted to create a conference, right? So they create an event. And they don't own the cars. They don't own the teams, right? The teams own the cars, and the drivers don't own the cars. They have to figure out how to impress the team. So what my first mission is, I thought, man, this kid probably sounds like one of the most interesting stories to ever hit NASCAR. I mean, he's going to be the only service member, and they claim, which I agree, that they are the most patriotic league in the planet, right? So I thought, man, he's going to check that box. And then I knew, obviously, him and Bubba were a rarity, right? There weren't many drivers in the history of NASCAR that have come through that have been black or brown. And certainly we need more ladies, too. Shireen or Margie, if I can teach you how to race, man.
I'm not even lying to you. I've been watching Jesse's videos on Instagram. I'm ready with the figure eight things. I'm ready.
Yeah. But my thing,
I don't think anybody wants me driving that fast, though.
So we've got some cool things for fans. Hopefully everybody's following Jesse, because we're going to be doing some crazy stuff once this pandemic's over. We can get people in cars, go to closed tracks, give you ride-along experiences, and really let people connect to how cool cars can be in a safe manner, and really what we're all about. So what I realized is that it was just going to be that, right? I thought, man, I got the most marketable driver that's ever stepped foot in NASCAR, or arguably one of them. He's unique and different. And what I saw from observing is that the camera that covers the broadcast usually pays attention to the people winning. So it's like, how do you figure out which team to pour money into if you're a sponsor, right? Because all the guys and girls don't win every weekend. It's different people that win. And as I was telling all these teams, hey, I got a guy, you got to sign him, you should develop him. He's going to be the most marketable driver. He just needs help learning how to drive because he's never done it. And they all thought, man, this kid's got an amazing story. How long has he been driving? And that was where I realized our first barrier was going to be, is to really prove, man, Jesse can compete. Jesse, again, I don't think it's just him. I think it's any dreamer out there that's ever made it. I mean, they're willing to pay the price, stay up all night, wake up early in the morning. It's all good to have a positive attitude in life. But, if you walk up to a vending machine and it tells you it's $1 to get that out of the machine and you're like really motivated, but you only give 99% effort or 99 cents, that treat's not coming out of the machine unless you pay full price, right? So Jesse, I saw right away, he was willing to do whatever it took. He knew he was behind the curve performance-wise. I knew I had to prove to brands that he wasn't going to show up and hurt himself or hurt anybody else and then be out of the race. And so hats off to Jesse, man. He's been working. I think he probably sleeps like standing up or hanging upside down from the ceiling. I don't know quite what he does, or, now he's sleeping on airplanes in between all these places we're flying around. But he's definitely proven to the world he can race, he can compete. I mean, even his last race that we just had where he made not the last race, but his first debut at the Xfinity Series. Think about this for a second, to people that complain life's hard, things are tough, but you want to accomplish something. So Jesse wanted to move up. His goal was to hit the top of NASCAR. But to get there, we have all these benchmarks we have to hit. Hey, ride a truck, run on this track, show us you're safe, we'll let you run on a bigger one, right? Run that series, then we'll let you move up to the next one. So we move up to the Xfinity NASCAR Series this year, the second highest level in NASCAR. And there's a pandemic, so they cancel practice, they cancel qualifying. These drivers normally get a day to practice, to learn the track. Here you got a guy who's going to a track he's never seen in his life, sitting in a car he's never sat in his life, a motor, an aerodynamic package he's never really experienced in real life. And there's no practice lap. They say, Jesse, leave the trailer, go to your car, and then they drop the green flag, and he's like, So, he's been just killing it on his sim time. And again, I think his parents in the Naval Academy raised incredible spokesman, somebody who's definitely an inspiration. Again, it doesn't matter, what your background, what your nationality, what your religion, what your skin tone is. If you have a goal and a dream, Jesse Iwuji is speaking to you to tell you, look, don't let society tell you what you can and can't be. If God's given you a vision, that was for you, not for the other person, right? So you need to take effort, massive effort. And, one last thing I'll tell you is when I hooked up with Jess and Margie, you're going to know the pride that the academies take, right? I was given a pin. I believe it was from the CNO at the time at the Army Navy game, and it just said, called to serve, daring to lead. And really, that's the motto Jesse comes with, man. He knows he's called to serve. He knows he stands on the shoulder of giants, and that's from a minority world of giants. He's representing so many, and he's representing so many in the service world. But I think even a bigger picture of that is Jesse's representing anybody with a goal and a dream that thinks they want to go and do something they were, put here on this earth to do. So again, obviously I'm a fanboy myself.
Yeah, well, Margie, can I ask a question? Because I know I'm meant to be on my best behaviour, so I was meant to allowing Margie to do most of it. So before I like to put it in, but Jesse, you kind of touched on it when you talked about, the fact that you didn't come from somebody who's been like racing cars for like years and years and years, and I think one of the things that I found really inspirational, many things, when I was doing my research on you before you came today, is just this idea. There's so many people who feel like time and expertise and professionalism and qualifications and all of these things are necessary before they are then ready to go after their dream, to go after their aspirations. And I think there's a lot of people, and I know myself because I've been there, right? And you're sitting doing things day to day and you have these dreams and you're thinking it's so disconnected because I can't be that because I don't have this, because I don't have that, because I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, and I see other people doing amazing things and that's not me. What do you say to people because you've been there and you kept pushing forward, so what do you say to people who are in that space of thinking that's not me, I could never do what Jesse's doing, I can't do what Matt's doing?
Yeah, there's so many great answers to what you said, and I'll try to see if I can throw all of them out there. But the first thing is those who usually think they can and those who usually think they can't are both usually right. So the biggest part in this entire journey, doesn't matter if you're trying to get into racing, business, whatever you're trying to do in life, if you have a goal that you're setting, it's all about mindset. You have to get your mindset in the right place. I can give you a step by step playbook for the 5-year playbook that can help you get to where I'm at. You just do all these little things, or basically all I did, you could probably get to where I'm at. But if your mindset's not in the right place, if it's not in the place where I am willing to give it all, but I give up everything in life, but understand that as long as I have faith that it's all coming back, if you don't get your mindset into that kind of space, you'll never be dangerous enough to get to where you want to go. You have to get your mindset in a place where I'm willing to give my all and lose everything, because you have complete faith that it is all coming back. If your mindset's not there, you're never going to get there. So, when people are going through a journey, they get kind of like you mentioned, they get stuck in this place called analysis paralysis, where they're just constantly analyzing. Okay, how do I need to get this first. I need to do this. And blah, 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 blah. And it's every day. And then I need to research some more. And then a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years go down the road, and they still haven't even gotten anywhere near trying to accomplish their goal. And they're stuck in this analysis paralysis. And, at the end of the day, you do got to analyze a little bit to get going. You do got to kind of understand the space that you're trying to get yourself into. Obviously, doing your homework helps. But at the same time, too, there has to come to a point where, okay, I've done enough to get the basics, at least kind of understand where I'm getting into. At this point, I always tell people, jump out the plane. But when you do it, just make sure you have everything in your bag that you need for your parachute. It doesn't have to be packed perfectly. Just make sure everything's in the bag. Once you have every tool in that bag, jump. So many people sit in the plane forever because they're trying to pack the parachute so perfect. Right. It has to be this, it has to be that. And I got to make sure that this is no, just make sure it's all in the bag, then jump. The reason why you want to jump, even though it's not packed perfectly, is because on your way down, you now have a time limit. You're like, okay, I have to now figure out this parachute before I hit the ground, or before I get to 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet or wherever I got to pull it by. So by that time, that's what pushes people to now actually execute on their goal. If you're just sitting comfortably in a plane, nothing will push you to actually reach the real goal. But once you jump out of that plane, you know that if I don't get it by this point, it's all over. Something lights a fire in your butt and gets you to go forward and start actually executing on your goal. I'll tell people, just throw it all in the bag and jump. Figure it out on the way down. That's what I do with everything in life.
Yeah. And I think it's that point about, I say to people, you've got to commit. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? You have to, and you, as you rightly said, it's about, but you also have to willing to sacrifice something for that commitment, because it's not going to be comfortable. And Matt, I can see you nodding, so I'll let you chip in with your piece on this, because I think there's a lot of people in this space, because of everything that's going on, right? When we're in this space of we're trying to push for change, and we're battling so many different things, and it's a bit like you get to this point where you feel powerless, because you're like, how can I push through this as an individual, but how can I push through this and help other people, because that's where I'm trying to get to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my tip for folks going after, big goals or dreams, or even little goals, it kind of, I would tell people to think back to when they learned how to ride a bicycle, as simple as that little time in your life was. And I remember I have little kids, so I've seen it now come full circle, where I'm like, all right, training wheels are off. You're going to learn how to ride the bike because you see your siblings doing it, or you see all the other kids in the neighborhood doing it. So that example is, you see Jesse doing it. You see other entrepreneurs doing it. You see other minorities. You see other people doing something you want to do. It doesn't have to be the same thing. You just see that they're doing something you'd like to do. So that proves that it works, right? It's possible. And this could be everything from, at one point, we never had a car. Somebody created it. At some point, we never had this kind of technology so we could connect. It was just in somebody's mind. We created it. But what happens is, people sometimes, they aren't prepared for the pain, right? Or what I say, the rain before the rainbow. And if you go back to when you learned how to ride a bike, mom and dad said, hey, just stay balanced and pedal, right? Because when you stop pedaling, you're going to fall. When you don't stay balanced, you're going to fall. But as a kid, you don't really know what balance means. You've never done it before, so you fall. And some of us have scars, right, on our bodies to remember those bicycle falls. But the point is this: the kids who got right back on the bike Now they know right away, that's too far right. That's what mom was saying. That's what dad was saying. So they probably overcompensate, go too far left and fall off, hopefully that way. But now they've learned from mistakes. You know, you don't fear failure. That's actually, you know, you learn from it and you continue to push on. And man, I think if any of us reached back and looked at how awesome life was when we were kids and we finally got to get on that bike and get some mobility and go hang out with our friends and do whatever, it really is that simple, right? You can learn it. Other people are doing it. It doesn't mean that they're doing what you're trying to do. It just means that they've created things that haven't been created for. And you know, really back to our story, I've told Jesse real simply this: look, the best revenge, the best way to be an example is to have massive success, right? I mean, you got to work on what you can control, which is how well you speak, how well you represent brands, and how well you can perform on track. You know, that's your role, Jesse, right? I know what my role is, to figure out funding to keep him on track, to keep him having opportunities to prove himself. And at the end of the day, I feel like, look, what people are going to find is that Jesse didn't come from a racing background. So we've had to reverse engineer this whole process, right? We kind of got landed out of that plane. We decided to jump. By the way, big shout out to Jesse's beautiful girlfriend, who's a Latino. All right. So talk about diversity. He's got a white agent, a Latino girlfriend, and we got a black driver. So, I mean, Jesse's like got the whole trifecta. And we never even stopped to like point that out to each other. We just thought we could. So we did. Right. It was just that simple. But our example is this: look, we've landed in the jungle. We don't come from the traditional NASCAR background. So we're going to have to figure this out. We're going to ride our bike, learn balance. And what we've done is we've started to knock down brush. We can see a path behind us. And our goal isn't just for us to get to the top. We realize there's a challenge from not only the service member community, minority community. Like, our goal is to leave a trail. So this isn't a jungle road. This isn't a gravel road. I mean, when you hear some stuff we have coming up before the year's over, we are going to have a paved road where anyone who would like to transition and do things with us, we're going to make that very possible. And, you know, the other thing I know is, unfortunately, it's kind of like Gary Vee says, man, he gives out all this info free. And he's, you know, people are like, why do you give it free? He says, most people aren't going to do anything anyway, right? They all talk about losing weight, quitting smoking, being a better whoever. And they just, sometimes, unfortunately, people won't participate even in their own rescue. So again, success, I think, leaves clues, and so does failure. But I think most people that have figured things out will tell you it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. And yes, our goal is to drive lasting change for sure in the space we can control.
Right. And I guess, sorry, Margie, right, I'll shut up now.
No, go. Yeah.
Go. You know, I could talk to you guys all day. One of the things I want to also kind of ask in terms of your advice about this is because what I love when I see the two of you, and, you know, Matt, I've been following you for a minute on LinkedIn, so I know you are Jesse's biggest fan, one of Jesse's biggest fans. I think you're the ultimate biggest fan, is the importance of the people that you have around you. Because I think, again, sometimes we think that to prove a point, right, particularly if you're coming from a place that isn't great and you're like, you're right, I'm going to get here and I'm going to do whatever's necessary. And you're thinking that everything you've got to do is got to be on your own to be able to therefore justify that success when you get to that point. What do you say to people about, you know, maybe using your partnership as an example, right? And how, you know, you've been able to help each other, but fundamentally come together, which is to help Jesse go as far as he can go. You know, that's open to both of you.
Jess, they've heard me for the last few minutes, so I'll let you chime in, man, and go.
Yeah, well, having a good circle around you is absolutely crucial in your life. So when I began this journey in NASCAR, so, you know, I was still active duty at the time before I went to the reserves. But, you know, as active duty, and I was like, I have a lot of friends, a lot of people I talk to and hang out with a lot. And then I knew right when I got into this journey that I needed to take my mind into a place where I needed to set my mind around people who were very like-minded. And when I say like-minded, not people who are all trying to go after professional racing goals, but like-minded as in people who are trying to elevate their life from where they are to the next level, and they're willing to do whatever it takes, and they're willing to grind every single day and put energy and focus towards something that is bigger than where they're at right now. And I quickly realized that a lot of the people that I was hanging out with and talking to at the time didn't have that same type of mindset. So I had to almost go to this very lonely place. I quickly realized, okay, well, I can't really spend a lot of time and talk to this person a lot. I can't talk to this person a lot anymore. And so I realized, like, oh man, I don't really have anyone to talk to anymore. And it was crazy at first, but I was like, this is what I have to do. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to just sit here alone and just talk to the wall all the time or just, listen to nothing. So I started listening to, this was back in 2015. I started listening to different YouTube videos and podcasts and things of some of these motivational speakers. And I would on Spotify too, and I would play them. I would be sitting in my room after I got home from work, as I'm working, as I'm on my simulator training, as I'm on my laptop creating partnership proposals and things like that, and researching who I can network with. As I'm doing all that stuff every night for 4, 5, 6 hours a night, what I started doing was listening to this stuff, playing it in the background. I'm like, well, I'm gonna fill my mind with that level of energy, their level of focus, what their different quotes are on just different things, like just aspects of life and how to advance your life and how to move forward in life and elevate your life. All those things, I'll start filling my head with that, because as long as I'm filling my head with that, it's like me hanging out with those people. And that's what I started doing. And when I started doing that, it took my life to a complete different level. If I kept on talking to people who weren't going anywhere, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. You're going to be the average. You're going to be like the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with and communicate the most with. So I had to really eliminate a lot of people out of my life and just focus on like, okay, let me listen and be around people who are elevating their life. And that was huge. So network is huge. That's what really helps the world go round. And me and Matt, we've learned that. And then Matt, we're on the same page with like everything. And we're like 2 peas in the pod. I mean, the same exact type of values and morals and things that I have, he has. And he's taught me a lot too along the way. I've taught him a few things too. And we just kind of keep on helping each other. We're, it's like peanut butter and jelly. I don't know which one I am. I don't know if I'm the jelly or the peanut butter, but who knows?
So
yeah, I think what I keep hearing here, and this is kind of how Shireen and I have come together. A lot of times we just kind of travel these roads alone for so long.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You have to get rid of the riffraff. You have to get rid of the people that are taking your energy away, that are taking up your valuable time if you're driven in this way. So clearly, Shireen and I keep partnering from across the pond. We keep calling it our tribe. We have a very small tribe of people at this point that I think all of us here on, in this panel, it's, we're trying to benchmark things, right? So we get it that we are probably unicorns in many ways, that we're just so driven that this is going to happen for us no matter what, and we're going to find the people to make it happen. But I think there's also a huge responsibility then also for the 4 of us to hand that ladder back down to the people that maybe don't know how to navigate that path, and to look for them. And I think, Jesse, this is where you and I probably have the similar experience with the academy, and bringing people in through the academies, is that we had to actively go and look. Did somebody go and actively look for you? Because I used to go and actively look for the Jessies, for the Shireens, for the Matts that I knew had that potential, and bring them in, because they didn't know how to get on that path to then be able to blaze it. Does that make sense? So, so where do you feel like our responsibility is then at this point? Like, you are driven, Matt's driven, Shireen's driven, but, we have to build some opportunities for other people also at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Definitely got to build opportunities. And that's what I learned that very early in this journey, that, when you can help others accomplish their dreams, eventually yours will come true too. So we've been doing a lot of things along our way to help other people's dreams come true. People reach out to me on a daily, weekly basis, constantly asking me questions about, hey, how do I get into racing? Or, hey, how do I start my own business? Or, hey, how do I do this? I want to get here. I want to get there. And they see what I've been able to succeed in all different kind of spaces. And they come to me, asking, hey, how do I make this happen? And I've been able to provide a lot of great insight on a lot of things. I actually have it's probably like a 10 to 15 page write-up that, just on racing things alone, on how to get people into racing. I have another very big write-up on how to get your own business going. Like, I started writing these things up because so many people kept on coming to me about them, but I knew this was my way to help give back. And the coolest part about it is when you can send people all this information, and yes, 90% of them won't, like Matt said, they don't want to participate in their own rescue, and they just won't do anything with it.
I love that phrase. Sorry, can you say that one more time, Jesse?
A lot of people will not participate in their own rescue.
Oh my goodness! Can I have a T-shirt with that on? Can we copyright? I think you have to copyright, so I can't steal it. But I love that. I love that.
You might have to, but a lot of people won't, but there's a 10% that actually will. And those people, it's great when you can send them this information, and then maybe like a few months down the road or a year down the road, they'll come back and they'll be like, hey, thank you so much for sending me that information. This is where I'm at now. And I remember one person particularly just a couple months ago, he had reached out. He's like, oh my God, thank you so much for helping me get my own business going. We began selling this. It started exploding. We're doing well. I'm actually profitable now. Thank you so much. It's changed my life. I'm like, that is awesome. Like, I don't need anything from that. I don't need you to pay me for that. I don't ask anybody for money for all. I mean, but the information I send out, a lot of people would like charge people for it. I mean, it's not just a paragraph. I'm talking about it's a write-up. Like, it's a small booklet, but I took the time to do it because I knew it would help people, and it was general enough where it could fit in so many different ways. And I've been sending it out, and it's been helping people, so it's great. So yes, building that path, because we want to leave a legacy. We're not the type of people who we're moving up and we're just cutting the ladder behind us. We're moving up and creating a ladder that is climbable for people. And if they want to participate in their own rescue and they're willing to climb that long ladder too, we'll help you get there. But that's why we left the ladder there. We didn't cut it off.
Right. You need to leave that on a banner up on this right now, right? Because
I love that. Like, people listen, I'm going to be quoting Jesse. Like, listen, everywhere I go, I'm going to be like, I love this. Right, we've got 5 minutes, so I'm going to go to some. 5 minutes we have, because we've literally got you guys for 40 minutes. So I don't know who this is. Unfortunately, I'm going to show this question, but whoever it is, can you just type in your name so we can see? This is the platform, not you.
Jesse, how do you feel your active social engagement on multiple platforms has helped bring your story to the motorsports world? Yeah, social media is huge, and engaging on it is even bigger. When I see other athletes not ever engage on their social media, like they might post one thing like a month and then they never engage with anybody. Maybe they made it to a point where they just don't care. They just made enough millions of dollars and it's whatever. For me, I don't see it that way. I see it as every time you can engage with a fan, you never know what opportunity that can come out of it. Now, am I able to engage with every single comment on every single platform all the time? No, but I pretty much hit about 90% of them. And I get to a lot of them. I basically see every single comment. I answer every single DM, every message that comes through. I try to answer every single one on every platform: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I get on average each day anywhere from 30 to 50 messages a day. And I get to every single one of them. That's not including emails. That's just social media messages. Yeah. And if it's a race weekend or something like that, it's more like 100 to 200. But I get to all of them because you never know what opportunity is going to come out of each one. You just don't know who knows who or who can connect you to who, and you got to get to them. At the end of the day, you don't know who you're going to change their life for. So you just got to do it. So social media engagement is huge. I'm a huge fan of social media and how it can help really elevate yourself and where it can take your network.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I would just add on that as well is I always say, because people always say, like, how can you spend so much time? Because I will dedicate at night time. I do all my replies to everybody all at night. Yeah. And I say my argument is if somebody, particularly because I'm talking about like anti-racism, I'm talking about improving things for Black people. And I say, well, if somebody's taking the time to not only listen to what I have to say, but they've taken the time to write something that's not just like, yeah, you go, Shireen. Like, they've taken the time to express their views. Like, I've got to respect that. I can't just do that and just not engage. I just feel that doesn't sit right with me, even though I know it is a lot of time. But I just think it's important to still respect the people who are engaging with you because they didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just my little 2 pence worth that I'll add in on the end of that.
Yeah, and look at it too. Like, I look at it like this, like, because you take all the time to do that, because you're doing all you're doing, you're pouring energy into the world. When you're pouring energy into the world and universe, it tends to pour energy back. Now, look, you're on this, LinkedIn Live with both of us, and it's all great. Everybody else who doesn't want to spend the time doing all the little social media stuff, they're not on this right here. So you can just see where it starts taking you to, because you're pouring energy into something.
Yeah, I love that. And look, I'm going to show this from Mike because I think he's commented a few times. So I'm going to show this.
My son first hunted down Jesse at the track in November 2016. Every time since, Jesse always has time to say hello. A great ambassador of NASCAR. Thank you. Yeah, and I always do my best to say hello to everyone. I'm not the driver that tries to walk really fast from point to point and not talk to any fans. I walk slow enough to talk to whoever comes by, take pictures, sign autographs, all that stuff. So, I try to be the people's driver.
Yeah, well, you are. Well, Margie, I'm going to let you close because we are at 39 minutes and I promise to stick to time. Promise.
No, it's too fast. We need like a couple hours, but I'll be respectful of that. And, you know, Matt and Jesse, you guys are an amazing team. So I'm going to, one more time, you know, Matt and Jesse came and did 3 welcome back to school videos for, you know, because of COVID and giving hope. And you guys, it's amazing. It's that people don't even see the level of outreach that you do. You know, I know there's some on social media, but there's a lot behind the scenes that I know that you're actively working, and your teamwork is a model for everybody else to follow in this space, whether it's, you know, racing or, you know, whatever at this point. And so I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing this time with Shireen and I and the audience. And I know you're busy, and and you guys are probably the most responsive people that I have ever dealt with on any of this. Like, you always get back to us. And so that is heartfelt appreciation. And it's something that I certainly, like Shireen said, you know, model and make sure I always respond to everybody. So I thank you for your time.
And I want to thank you both.
The video that was out. So, you know,
yeah, and I want to say, thank you both. I mean, you know, some random woman in the UK said, you know, well, you know, I just really appreciate it, because so many people would have said no. They would have been like, who is she? What? And you both were very gracious, and you've given your time, like Margie said. You know, and I can't tell you, there will be so many people who would have been impacted by what you both said, you know, in this 40 minutes. You will probably never know that, but I just want you to know that you will have. You know, they just needed to hear what you had to say at this particular moment in time. So I just want to thank you both so much for just making the time. Margie and I both really appreciate it, but I personally super appreciate it.
I will have to, Shireen, I love you, but it has been like Christmas. So it's been fantastic.
Well, listen, before we go, I want to just obviously on behalf of the entire Jesse Iwuji racing team, the sports agency group, again, thanks for taking the time to not just like comments we put out, but to engage and have a conversation. That's where it all starts, right? I mean, it's amazing what you can accomplish just by saying hello. Most people won't even say that. You know, I'll leave with this. We couldn't go over a lot of crazy news on this call because it hasn't leaked yet, but I can just give a few hints, right, as we wrap up for why people would maybe want to go follow Jesse on social so they know about these things coming up. I will just tell you this weekend, all over the globe, wherever NASCAR is broadcast, the Sunday race, all right, for the playoffs in Charlotte, you were going to see before the race starts in the pre-show one of the most incredible military pinning, or most interesting. It's probably going to be the most interesting military pinnings for Jesse hitting Lieutenant Commander that maybe's ever happened. It's not that he's the coolest military guy. I want to make that clear, or gal. But it's just very amazing. And a big shout out to our partners at NBC and NASCAR that are allowing this to happen. The very next week, you are going to see a launch at the racetrack in Kansas. So I guess I just leaked a little secret. All right. That Jesse's going to be next on track in the great state of Kansas in an Xfinity car. So it will be his first time on a circle track, a track he's never driven in his life, a car he's never driven in his life. But for all the dreamers, man, he's not running from the challenge. He's running to the challenge. And Jesse always tells me, man, you know, my secret is I don't wish things were easier. I just try to figure out how I can get better. And so hats off to you, Jess, for that and for running into this. But you're going to see a launch very softly of something Jesse is creating for the globe to create lasting change. It's going to debut October 17th on his race car. Okay. We're going to be talking about it. The following week, anybody who likes social interactions and being able to connect with interesting people, you're going to see a celebrity. I'm not going to say it's a Michael Jordan exact type level, but I'm going to tell you it's up there in the world of celebrities that is coming alongside Jesse. You are going to see that news, somebody who gives back, makes the world a better place, another leader in the athletic space. You're going to see that happen the following week. And then, of course, you know, we got a surprise for you to end the NASCAR season out in Phoenix for Veterans Day weekend. Some crazy, amazing stuff we're doing, and it's not going to slow down. So, again, look, a lot of times you need to understand that success takes time, right? It's not an overnight, it's an overtime. I would encourage people to understand that time either promotes you or it exposes you. And I'll tell you one quote I'll leave you with is, man, folks need to prepare for the battle they don't even know is coming, right? And if you just get focused and you prepare for the battle you don't even know is coming, you'll be ready. And some people say, Matt, you got lucky with Jesse, or Jesse, you got lucky with Matt. That's not true. We were doing these things before we ever met each other. It was just the world bringing two good people together at the right time. I think in 2017, the world knew 2020 was going to come. And look, a lot of people didn't know who Jesse was or who Matt was. And I don't do this for anybody to know who I am. I would just tell you that, again, we realize to whom much is given, much is expected, and we're not going to stop sowing good seeds and helping people. So, ladies, thanks for your time. Thanks for caring. Thanks for all you're doing to create change and bring people together. And Jess, I'll let you wrap up with any comments, man. But I would highly encourage folks to jump over and follow him on social. One of the only athletes we rep or know that runs their own social, by the way. Most of the guys like, nope, do it for us. We don't care. And hats off to him. He does it all himself.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for the opportunity to be on here, and hopefully some people learned some things and hopefully inspired some and motivated some. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media. You can reach out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. Here's my social name right here. Where is it? Boom. On all the platforms. Just look up my name. If you can't remember how to spell it, just go on Google, type in Navy NASCAR driver. I should be the only one that pops up for a few pages.
No, thank you. Congratulations on your promotion. That's not a small feat. And, Shireen, when are you coming? We need to go to some.
I know. When we can get rid of the virus, I'm right over there. I'm there. I'll be there.
Come so we can go. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to end the broadcast, unfortunately, because Jesse and Matt do have to run. But thank you. Thank you, all three of you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.